This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, Heather, ho there. It's Jeff Curtis. I welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe on this day. And on this day, in the middle of September, September 15, 1985, the Ryder Cup would be changed forever. The history of the Ryder Cup was simple enough. The Ryder Cup is a big match between the US and Europe. Now, it was not always that way. It was originally contested with Great Britain versus the United States, meaning that European golfers from European countries not from Great Britain, were at a disadvantage. In 1927, the Ryder Cup first took place. It would happen every other year, and the U.S. would host it one time, then Europe, then U.S. and Europe. Of course, the wars did ruin it. But the Americans were dominating after World War II. After the Americans kept beating Great Britain in their matches, they decided to put Great Britain to enjoy continental Europe. And it was amazing. And a lot of European golfers could play in this thing to try to knock out the United States. So, of course, there were Spanish golfers like Seve Ballesteros. However, since Great Britain changed it into Europe in 1979, Europe's been 11-8-1. So, in addition to players from Great Britain and Ireland, European team players were from Belgium, Denmark, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, and Sweden. The Ryder Cup and the President's Cup actually have no prize money, despite them being high-profile events. All that. The next Ryder Cup comes in a few weeks because it was supposed to be September 2020 in Whistling Straits, but in Wisconsin, but because of the COVID, it was hit at one. The Ryder Cup was always in odd-numbered years, and then it was moved to even years in 2002. So, well, because of 9/11. So anyway, at the Belfry in Warwickshire, England, captains Tony Jacklin and Lee Trevino were leading their teams in the battle, Europe versus the United States. Now, the captains could not play, obviously. So the Americans had lost in 1957, the only time they lost in the 50 years of the Ryder Cup competition. Europe needed this. In fact, this was the last Ryder Cup in Europe that was not shown on live TV in the United States. In 1989, the USA Network would actually televise it on cable with video provided by the BBC. NBC would take over coverage in 1991 in South Carolina. That was a great matchup. So, 3 days of competition. The first day was 4 alternate shot matches in the morning session and 4 ball or better ball matches in the afternoon session. Alternate shot is basically that each team will have a ball. 2 players on each side, but one player would hit the ball, and then the person would have to, and then his partner would have to play that shot, and then it would alternate. And 4 ball or better ball means that everyone tees off, and then the teams will choose which ball they want to play, and then go alternate from there. That's what happened in day 2. And then day 3 would be 12 singles matches. They needed 14.5 points to win the cup. All matches were played to a maximum of 18 holes, meaning that there would be no playoff. Teams could get a half point. The European team, 9 of them were chosen from the European Tour money list. And then the final 3 members were chosen immediately by Captain Jacklin. There was rumors that Christy O'Connor Jr. of Ireland would have been in it, but he missed out in the Benson and Hedges thing. And then Jose Maria Canizares on the European Tour money list. Went up, I don't know. Jacqueline chose Nick Faldo and Ken Brown, which was great. But then his choice of Jose Rivera over O'Connor Jr. was a surprise. So, Tony Jacqueline would take with him Sandy Lyle, Sam from Scotland, Sam Torrance from Scotland, Ian Woosnam from Wales, Bernard Langer from Germany, Paul Way from England, Howard Clark from England, Seve Ballesteros from Spain, Manuel Pinero from Spain, Jose Maria Canizares from Spain, Jose Rivera from Spain, Ken Brown from Scotland, and Nick Faldo from England. The U.S. had Andy North and Hubert Green on them because of the fact that they won majors. Lee Trevino also picked Curtis Strange, Lanny Watkins, Ray Floyd, Calvin Peete, Marco Miro, Craig Stadler, Hal Sutton, Peter Jacobson, Tom Kite, and Fuzzy Sailor. In the morning foursomes, the Americans looked good. The only matchup that they lost was Strange and O'Meara, losing to Ballesteros and Panaro. Pete and Kite, Watkins and Floyd, and Stadler Sutton matchup. The pairings for the U.S. won. In the four ball, the Europeans actually won 2 of the 4 matches. Way and Woosnam beat Seller and Green. Ballesteros and Panaro beat North and Jacobson. The pairing of Langer and Canizares for Europe would actually split with Stadler and Sutton of the U.S. Torrance and Clark of Europe lost to Floyd and Watkins. So after one day, the U.S. were up 4.5 to 3.5. However, things would change in the morning four ball as 2 European pairings won. Torrance and Clark and Way and Woosnam won their matches. America got O'Meara and Watkins winning their match. But the Stadler Strange U.S. pairing tied the European of Langer and Lyle. In the afternoon foursomes, Europe won 3 out of 4. The only botch was Way and Woosnam losing to Strange and Jacobson. So after 2 days, it was 9 to 7. So now it's time for the singles match. The Americans with 12 matches would have to win 6 to tie the cup and basically give the cup back to the U.S. because they were the defending champions. So they needed 6 wins. Unfortunately, they only got 4.5. And Europe won 7.5 to win the thing, 16.5 to 11.5. Manuel Pinero of Europe beat Lenny Watkins. Paul Way beat Ray Floyd. Sandy Lyle beat Peter Jacobson. Bernard Langer beat Hal Sutton. Sam Torrance beat Andy North. Howard Clark beat Marco Miro. And Jose Maria Canizares beat Fuzzy Sailor. The Americans would have Craig Stadler, Calvin Peete, Hubert Green, and Curtis Strange win their matches, with the Ballesteros Kite matchup being halved. So overall, it was amazing. Seve Ballesteros was the star. He won 3 of his 5 matches. 3-1-1. Nick Faldo would be the only European not to score a point for his team, as he was 0-2. So anyway, it was good. Paul Way actually was also surprised. Well, 3 points for Bernard Langer, but 3 points for Paul Way. I mean, that's amazing. The United States didn't have anything. Andy North was 0-3 in his 3 matches. Fuzzy Sailor didn't score a point for the Americans either. Despite Lanny Watkins being 3-2, basically he played every match. So, yeah, everyone on the Americans were ashamed of themselves. Calvin Peete was 2-1, and he was a shocker. He was the most successful African American on the tour, winning 12 matches before Tiger Woods came on the scene. So yeah, I wonder if he's related to Rodney Peete. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think he is related to Rodney Peete. But anyway, yeah, 1985 was a bad time to be a U.S. golfer. The embarrassment of losing the Ryder Cup for the first time in 28 years was not hard enough. Now that the Great Brits stretched to European golfers, things would change for the worse for the Americans. Although they have had a few great Ryder Cups, but Europe has taken them out. So anyway, that's all there is to it in this Ryder Cup of shock. I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.